Good evening, students. Very good evening, all. Uh, Today we'll be solving questions for biology. Previously, day before yesterday, we solved questions of physics, and I hope it was helpful for you. Okay. So today we'll be solving some questions of biology. We'll be covering all the chapters related to biology. Okay. This will be also, I think, it would be helpful for you. We try to take all the questions which are very important for the examination point of view. Okay, so let's start the class. Okay, here the first question: most of the digestion and absorption of the food takes place in the. Very simple question it is. About digestion it is said, where digestion takes place the most. It starts with the esophagus, it reaches to the stomach, reacting with HCl, and then the nutrients are being taken out with the help of villi in small intestine. So over here the answer should be small intestine. Small intestine is a place where the digestion takes place most. Okay. Next, the cross made between two pea plants produces 50% tall plants and 50% short pea plants. The gene combination for the parental pea plants must be. Which kind of plants should be taken in order to get result of 50% tall plants and 50% of the short plants? Okay, so obviously if we are to take a capital T and two capital T's and two small t's, what will happen? Most often you will get tall plants only. So you cannot take D. If it will be capital T, capital T, capital T and small t, so only one plant would be the short, otherwise all the plants would be the tall one. So obvious answer should be this one, where you will get 50% of tall plants and 50% of short plants. Okay. Food web is constituted by relationship between plants and animals, relationship between the organism and the environment, relationship between animals and environment, or various interlinked food chains in an ecosystem. Food web. So it is a web, it is a interconnection of different kinds of food chains among itself. Okay, so it is a relationship between, or it is a various interlinked between the different food chains in the ecosystem. Next, match the following with correct responses. If you know the answers, you can also provide your answers in the chat box. Okay, I hope you all be giving right answers. Next question is match the following questions. Ductless gland. Over here, ductless gland. So which would be the appropriate option for the answer ductless gland among this A, B, C and D? It would be salivary gland. Okay, so one is connected with B, second, endocrine hormone system. Where should it be more suitable? It is provided in thyroid gland. Then milk, which is more appropriate answer for milk, mammary gland, and glucagon. For glucagon, what is the best option? The remaining part is C, that is the remaining one. So we have the answer C. What will happen if the deer are missing in the following food chain? In this food chain, if deer is missing, what will happen? The population of the tigers will increase, the tiger will die, the amount of grass will decrease, the tiger will start eating grasses. Now the nature of the tiger would not change, obviously. So this is quite obvious, this won't be the answer. Here, if deer has been reduced, the deer has been discarded from the food chain, tiger would have nothing to eat. So if tiger has nothing to eat, what will happen to the health of the tiger? Obviously, it is going to die. So the appropriate answer for this question is the tigers will die. Which one of the following statement is correct about the human circulatory system? Blood transports only oxygen and not carbon dioxide. That is entirely wrong, because carbon dioxide is being released by us. Human heart has 5 chambers. That is also wrong. Human heart has 4 chambers. Valves ensure that the blood does not flow backwards. Valves ensure that the blood does not flow backwards. That is the correct option. Let us see the fourth one also. Both oxygen rich and oxygen deficit blood gets mixed into the heart. That is also wrong, because different chambers are being made in order to make them separate. The different chambers help in separation of these two kinds of blood. So the obvious answer is valve ensure the blood does not flow backwards. Next, a plant growth inhibitor hormone which causes wilting of leaves is called. Wilting of leaves is called cytokinin, auxin, abscisic acid, or gibberellin. What will be the answer? It will be abscisic acid. Assertion and reason. Amoeba takes in food using finger-like extensions of the cell surfaces. And in all unicellular organisms, the food is taken in by the entire cell surfaces. So first of all, we will check whether the statements are correct or not. The first statement, amoeba takes in food using finger-like extensions of the cell surfaces. That is the correct one. So assertion is true. What about reason? In all unicellular organisms, the food is taken in by the entire cell surfaces. That is also correct. Entire unicellular organism it is, then it will be covered by the entire cell. So reason is also correct. But is the reason correct explanation of it? Is the reason a correct explanation of it? Then no, reason is not the correct explanation of the answer. Okay, so A and R are true, but R is not correct explanation. Of A. Okay, this would be the answer. The energy which passes to the herbivorous does not come back to the autotrophs. The energy that has been passed by the to the herbivorous does not come back to the autotrophs. First of all, is that statement correct? So yes, assertion is correct. The flow of energy in a food chain is unidirectional or unidirectional. Sorry, unidirectional, not unidirectional. It is unidirectional. Only in one direction the flow of energy takes place. That is also correct. We have a triangular pyramid-like structure. So reason is also correct. But is the reason correct explanation of assertion? Then yes, because energy flow, this is also talking about energy flow. This is also talking about the energy flow. So both assertion and reason are true. And reason is correct explanation of A. Name the phenomena occurring in plants which are under the control of gravity, water, and chemicals with one example each that shows the movement involved. We are required to give the phenomena occurring in plants which are under the control of gravity. what is controlled in gravity? Okay, so geotropism would be the phenomena. So for gravity, we will have geotropism. For water, what would be the answer? For water, what could be the answer? Hydrotropism. And for chemicals, what would be the answer? Chemotropism. Chemotropism would be the answer for the chemicals. Okay, with one example, you can have any one example for each of them. For geotropism, you can say that the roots grow downward, so that is the example for geotropism. For hydrotropism, you can say the flow of water inside the plant. Okay, and for chemotropism, you can say the germination of the plants. Okay, reproduction happening inside the plants or the flowers. Or for that, you can consider chemotropism. Next, a red-eyed individual is crossed with a white-eyed individual to produce F1 progeny with red eyes. F1 progeny with red eyes. When F1 individuals are intercrossed, F2 progeny is formed with both red as well as white-eyed individuals. How is the dominant trait identified? Now, the dominant trait is identified by observing its expression in the F1 generation. Whatever F1 generation is providing you, according to that, you will be having dominant trait. Then, what are recessive traits? What will be considered as the recessive traits? Which are being suppressed by the dominant trait. Dominant traits does not allow the properties to enhance. That is what recessive traits are. Okay, whose presence are less than the dominant trait. That is considered as recessive traits. If 12 individuals are produced in F2 generations, then how many white-eyed individuals? 12 individuals are produced in F2 generations, then how many white-eyed individuals would be obtained? Okay, so for that, what will you consider? The ratio of red-eyed and white-eye is red to white-eye. Your ratio of red to white-eye is 3:1, as red eye is the dominant one. So the ratio would be 3:1. So that will be the ratio of this. Draw a diagram of human alimentary canal and label gallbladder, pancreas, liver and small intestine on it. Okay, so for alimentary canal, the important part is this diagram. That is why this question has been included. Diagram of an alimentary canal. Okay, that is the must. In the exam, this question could be asked. Okay, and the labeling of each and every part should be known by you. Each and every part's labeling should be known by you. Okay, hence this question has been considered. So draw the diagram of this alimentary canal, and then using it, you need to have the labeling of liver, gallbladder, pancreas, and small intestine. Okay, these three things. Next, give 2 reasons to explain why absorption of digestion food occurs mainly in the small intestine. Okay, why is that so? That only in the small intestine the absorption of food takes place, or nutrition takes place. Now, absorption is a process where the time is being taken. The food cannot be absorbed fast. Okay, it requires time to absorb food or extract nutrition from the food. For that, Small intestine is the only place where food takes time to pass through. Food takes time to pass through. Other all the parts in the body, whether in alimentary canal, whether in stomach, whether in large intestine, in all the other parts, it flows very fast. Okay, and only in the small intestine. Also, there is a more amount of contact with the food. More amount of contact with the food, where villi takes place over here, and villi absorbs the nutrition from it. That is why it is considered that small intestine is the only place where nutrition has been absorbed completely, and the most of the nutrition has been absorbed over in small intestine. List three different categories of contraceptive methods. Three different forms, or three different ways of contraceptive methods. So use of you can say use of condoms. That would be the first contraceptive methods. Then cervical capes used by women, or copper T. Okay, and these are the things through which you can have barrier method. These are the barrier methods, you can say. Chemical methods are also there. Different chemical methods are also there. Different kinds of pills are being taken by the women to stop the fertilization or the removal of the ovary into the canal. Okay, so that can be also be done. And for permanent stoppage, you can have surgical methods. In that, vasectomy in the male, okay, that is, or tubectomy in the females, where the duct is been fallopian tube is been, what you say, scissored, with the help of which there is no passage of sperms, or you can say ovas. Okay, so there are in all the three different forms, any three examples you can consider. Then why has Government of India prohibited parental sex determination by the law? Because that was the biggest issue of the country, where the girl child was not promoted. Okay, as girl child was not promoted, and the parents, as soon as the parent knew that the child which has been born is a girl child, then some parents would want to have abortion for that child. Okay, which is very emotionally damaging to the mother also, and it is a loss of a life. Hence, government has taken these steps in order to do that. Unsafe sexual acts can lead to various infections. Name two bacterial and two viral infections caused due to the unsafe sex. Okay, so for bacterial disease, what you can consider? Gonorrhea and syphilis. Gonorrhea and syphilis are the two bacterial diseases that has been caused. And for viral, you can, or virus, you can consider it as warts and HIV/AIDS. These are the two main unsafe sex diseases that have been caused to the people mainly. Next, distinguish between hormonal coordination in plants and animals. Which part of the brain is responsible for? Distinguish between hormonal and coordination in plants and animals. Okay, hormonal coordination in plants and animals. First of all, about plants, if we say, it is simple diffusion. In coordination in plants, the hormones are simply diffused easily, and in animals, transported through bloods in a targeted organs. Okay, with the help of blood, it is been transported into the targeted places. Okay. Then for plants, you can say, another distinguish between the plants and animals, you can say that no specialized gland involves. Over there, the glands are not been present in plants to secrete the hormones. Okay, so glands are not present, but in animals, they are being released by endocrine glands. Okay, so these two difference you can use in this question. Which part of the brain is responsible for intelligence? For intelligence, which part of the brain is being used? Cerebrum or the forebrain, you can consider it as, but mainly you should write cerebrum. Okay, cerebrum would be the appropriate answer. Then riding a bicycle, cerebellum, where it is been nerve cells are being controlled with the help of it. So cerebellum would be the answer for the B. Vomiting, what causes vomiting? Medulla. Okay, and controlling hunger. Controlling hunger, it will be controlled by hypothalamus. Okay, so these will be the answers for the A, B, C, and D. Next is, how is brain and spinal cord protected against mechanical injuries? Against mechanical injuries, spinal cords and brain is being protected. So first of all, about brain is being protected with the help of thick skull, bones which is very much hard shell covering the brain. So with the help of it, we are protecting our brain with the help of skull. And for spinal cord, that has been protected by the backbone or vertebral column. You can say vertebral column. Okay, so backbone mostly would be the answer for it. Now this is a case-based question, that a mechanism by which the sex of an individual is determined is called sex determination. In humans, in human beings, sex of newborn is genetically determined, whereas in some other it is not. There are 46 chromosomes, but where it is a pair of 23, and human being, but there are 44 pairs which are controlled by the body characteristics, and two chromosomes or one pair for sex chromosomes. The sex chromosomes are of two types, X and Y. Mainly X is been found, only X's are been found in female, and for male it is X and Y, where Y is little bit shorter than X. At the time of fertilization, depending upon which type of male gametes fuses with the female, because male has both X and Y, where Y is the shorter one, and the sex of the newborn child has been decided. First question, if the gametes always have half the number of chromosomes, then how is it original number of the chromosomes restored in the organism? If half of the number of the chromosomes are there, then original restoration, how is it happen? So what happens when the gametes have half number of chromosomes? When they fuse, the original number is restored at the time of fertilization. The time of fertilization, male and female germ cells are fused to form a zygote. So from one pair of X and Y of male and one pair of XX from female, let us say these two are fertilized, then you will get a female, and if these two are fertilized, then you will get a male. Okay. Why is a pair of sex chromosome in human being called a mismatched pair in terms of type and size? Mismatched pair, why is it known as? Because the male has a chromosome, two chromosomes, where one is X chromosome, which is the normal size, and Y is a chromosome which is little bit shorter one. So in male it is been mismatched or missized. Name two animals whose sex is not genetically determined. Explain the process of their sex determination. Okay, so crocodiles, alligators or turtles, these are the kinds of examples that you can use. Now mainly their sex has been determined with the help of temperature. According to their temperature, their sex has been determined. Okay, at the time of providing birth, their temperature changes, and that temperature change converts them into providing eggs. Okay, so with the help of temperature change process, you can find the sex of the particular crocodile or alligator or such kind of creatures. Turtles, you can also have turtles also. Next, the process in which loss of water is in the form of vapors from aerial parts of the plants takes place in X, which helps in Y. where x and y respectively are, what will be considered as x and y. So transpiration and photosynthesis, the process in which loss of water is in the form of vapors from aerial part of the plants takes place in x, which helps in y. First of all, it takes place in x. Where does it takes place? For that we have either transpiration or translocation. Now that is flow of water. So flow of water is not translocation, it is transpiration. So these two options are already been discarded. These two options are already been discarded. Transpiration is present for x, which helps in y. How does it helps in y? So what will be the y? Either it is photosynthesis or temperature regulation. So photosynthesis, evaporation does not help in photosynthesis, or loss of water does not help in photosynthesis. So this will also not be the answer. So the answer is temperature regulation. Transpiration and temperature regulation. In MCQ, sometimes in biology, it is good to have discardation or option reduction process, where you will discard some of the options, where you are sure of that this cannot be the answer. Okay, so your probability of getting the right answer would increase. Although it is a biology, but using little bit of maths over here is fine. Next, in an experiment to study independent inheritance of two separate traits, shapes and color of the seeds, the ratio of the different combinations is in F2 progeny would be, okay, two separate traits, shape and color of the seeds, shapes and color of the seeds, the ratio of the different combinations in F2, ratio of different that is already provided in the textbook, example. In that question we have solved, we have understood that, and that trait would be 9:3:3:1. So option is D. Although these two cannot be the answer, obviously, because it is ratio of 2 and ratio of 3. Okay, as there are two different traits. So we will have ratio of 4. So either it could be C or D. C cannot be, because in C the middle two are less than the third one. Okay, the recessive part would be the least one. Hence, 1 should be the answer. Next, the food chain will be more advantageous in terms of energy if it has more advantageous. How food chain would be more advantageous? If it would have 3 topic level, 2 topic level, 5 or 4. Now food chain, as much as it is short, it is more useful. So what could be the possible answer? 2 topic level. The more numbers of layers in food chain it is, if it is possible, or if it happens that any one of it in between of the levels, any one of it is been extinct, then there is a problem with the further one. Okay, as we had an example with deer. If deers are been extinct, then tigers would not have anything. So with the help of deer, tigers also get extinct. Similarly, if there is less number of tropical levels, then it would be easier for survival. So second 2 tropic levels should be the answer. Next, match the following with the correct response. Thyroid gland, what does it releases? Obviously it releases thyroxine. So with first it is B. Pancreas, what does it release? Insulin. Pancreas releases insulin and glucagon. Testes, what is being released in testes? It is a male reproductive part. So over there it would be testosterone. Then ovaries, it is again female reproductive part. So for female reproductive part, the gland is being known as estrogen. Next, which of the following are water intensive crops? More amount of water is required. More amount of water is required. Sugarcane. Sugarcane is the obvious one. Okay, so B and D is been discarded directly. B and D is been discarded directly. What is left? C and A. With wheat and rice, what would require more water? Now here you can use little bit of SS also. How? The southern part of India is water rich. All the three parts have been covered with water. And what is more popular over there? Rice. So water is required, much amount of water is required to grow rice. Because water is not present, or that much amount of water is not provided in the northern part of the India. So we usually have wheat. Okay. So in this you can have a little bit of SS also. So water and sugarcane and rice. These two will be the answer. Okay. The most best way to understand these topics are to correlate all the subjects. As you correlate the subjects, that is more helpful. That is why you are learning all these subjects all together, in order to correlate with one another. Correlation helps in remembering all the things easily. Next, select the correct options or correct statement about tropic movement in plants. It is due to stimulus of touch and temperature, tropic movement in plants. Is it due to stimulus of touch and temperature? It does not depend upon the direction of stimulus received. That is also wrong. It is observed only in roots and not in stem. Tropical movement is not observed in stem. That is also wrong. It is a growth related movement. Tropic movement is growth related movement. Okay. So our answer is D. Which one of the following statement is true for Hydra, amoeba and Spirogyra? Hydra, amoeba and Spirogyra. They reproduce sexually, they reproduce asexual, they are multicellular, they are unicellular. Hydra, amoeba and Spirogyra. So all three of them are not unicellular. All three of them are not unicellular. So what kind of, we will be discussing about the process of reproduction. So obviously they do not support sexual reproduction. They support asexual reproduction. Offspring produced by asexual reproduction are genetically similar to the parent, and asexual reproduction involves a single parent. This is assertion and reason. Now, first of all, about assertion, offspring produced by asexual reproductions are genetically similar to parents. They are not genetically similar, they are identical also. They are identical also. Genetically, though, they would be similar only, but they are identical also, because there is no variations in them. There is no variations in them. Hence, that is, assertion is true. Asexual reproduction involves a single parent. Yes, in asexual reproduction, mostly single parent is only responsible for the child or for the daughter cells. So over there, reason is also correct. And as there is only single parent provided, so there is no variation, and there is no variation, so there is identity, or genetically they are similar. So both assertion and reason are true. Also, reason is correct explanation for or of A. Next, producers are capable of using light energy from the sun to make food available in an ecosystem. Obviously, plants are the producers. Because of those we are able to have consume food. है ना. So assertion is true. All food chains in an ecosystem starts with a producer. Starts with the producer. Obviously, they start with producer only. As producer provides food, generates food, it has been consumed by the first primary consumers, then secondary consumer, and then tertiary. So we'll have assertion and reason are correct, but reason is not the correct explanation for A. Reason is not the correct explanation for A. Both A and R are true, but reason is not correct explanation of A. Construct a food chain of 4 tropic levels in grassland. If energy at 4th level is 75 joule, how much was available at 2nd level, and justify. Okay, so first of all, we will try to construct, let's say, find the 2nd level energy. Now what happens? 10% law. 10% energy is being transferred to the tropic level. So if 75% is at 4th tropic level, so that is the 10% of 3rd tropic level. So 10%, if 10% is 75, then 100% is 75 multiply 100 divided by 10, 750. Okay, so at 3rd it would be 750, and as 3rd it is 750, so 2nd it would be 750. If 10% is 750, then 100% is 750 multiply 100 divided by 10, 7500 joule, 7500 joule. That would be the 2nd tropic level. Okay. Why is energy flow unidirectional? That we already discussed earlier. Unidirectional, it is energy flow because the producers provide the food, generate the food that is being absorbed by the primary consumer, and then it is being absorbed by the primary consumers are being absorbed by the secondary consumer. Primary consumers are mostly us, or us means you can consider let's say herbivorous, then there are carnivore, there are carnivorous, and there are omnivorous. So identify the diagram and name the part A, B, and C. Obviously, from the diagram you can say that the over here diagram is of stomata. So this is stomata. A, B, and C. So first of all, what is A? The cells surrounding over here, what are those known as? Guard cells. Then B part, gap between them. This gap, what is this gap considered? What is filled inside this gap? Cytoplast. Sorry, chloroplast. Chloroplast is present. And what is present in the midst of it? In midst of it, it is stoma, or the opening. You can say it is opening, or you can say stoma. The figure is of stomata. These are the 3 things of it. Lifestyle improvement provides large waste generation. Justify with 2 reasons. Improvement of lifestyle, it leads to large waste generation. Improvement in lifestyle, what does it actually means? Improvement is in lifestyle means ease of lifestyle. Ease of lifestyle. What we usually do in order to ease the lifestyle, we subsidize our work. Our workload is being divided among different clusters, and each cluster we provide waste. We produce waste in each cluster. So because of that reason, as we improve our lifestyle, the waste generation gets increasing. If we are doing something for ourselves, then we are responsible for all the things of that particular task. But if the task is being provided to someone else, then that person or that thing is not going to think about waste generation. So what will happen? Continuously, because of subsidization of work, subsidization of task, that the waste is being generated in all of the cases. That is why the bulk amount of waste is being provided at the end of things. So that is the reason, as we improve lifestyle, waste generation increases. Name parts of human being controlling voluntary actions and involuntary actions. Who controls voluntary actions? Means which are being done by us. We want to do those kinds of actions. So cerebellum is the name. It's a part of the brain which is responsible for controlled actions. For involuntary actions, where there is no control of our, these actions are being done by itself. Beating of heart. Beating of heart is in involuntary actions. Circulation of blood, that is also involuntary actions. So this has been done by the help of medulla. Functions of peripheral nervous system. What is the function of peripheral nervous system? So the communication between central nervous system and the other parts of the body, that is been controlled, that is been done by the peripheral nervous system. The communication between central nervous system and the other part of the central nervous system means the spinal cord. Spinal cord connected with the full complete body. So that is being controlled by that is being functioned by the peripheral nervous system. Name components and their organs. Components and the organs. So first I already said spinal cord or spinal nerves, you can say. Then cranial nerves. Cranial nerves. These are the two things which are the components of this. And where are they provided? Spinal cord, spinal nerves are present in spinal cord, that is the presence of it, and cranial nerves are present in brain, because brain is what providing the instructions to the body. So cranial nerves are present in brain. Red-eyed, white-eyed cross section means both of them. If you have it, then what will produce? F1 red. I guess it's the same question repeated, but in the another form. These are PYQ questions, so some questions are been repeated in the next year, but in changed form. So this is an example for it. Same question, but it is in a different form. Draw human excretory system. Again, same thing. Excretory system is also been asked multiple times in the exam. So there is the important diagram. Label kidney, ureter, bladder, and urethra. Write one function of each. One function of each for kidney. For kidney, what kind of function it is? The function of kidney is to purify the liquid inside the body. It purifies the liquid. Then ureter is responsible for passage of that liquid. Ureter is responsible for the passage of that liquid from kidney to urethra. Urethra is the bladder. Bladder is the place where that liquid is been held. Urine is been holded. That is present in bladder. And then urethra, from bladder to the outer part. For the excretion, urethra is been responsible. It's a tube through which urine is being extracted. Next question. Refer to the schematic representation of albinism, which is an inheritance condition caused by recessive cell. A is the dominant for the normal condition, and the inheritance of the certain genetic traits for 2 or more generations is represented in the pedigree or family tree. Study the given pedigree chart and answer the following question. Which are the question? What could be the genotype of X and Y? What could be the genotype of X and Y? Now, for X and Y, as capital A is the dominant one, so we can consider small a is the recessive one. So for X, you can consider it is for X you can consider it is AA type. AA type, and for Y also you can consider the same thing, AA type. AA type is for X and Y. What could be the genotype of generation 1 male and female? Genotype for one male and female. For one male and female, what could be the genotype of it? So for male you can consider your male would be, for male it would be AA. For male it would be AA, and for female it would be capital A, capital A. That would be the genotype. If X married an albino female, then what is the probability that their children would be albino? Albino one. So let us check that one. Albino, if X is the albino, and what is the probability that it would be the albino female? So for albino it would be half and half. Both of them are albinos. Albino female, albino male. Okay, so the probability would be the half would be the probability of it. So 1/2, which is equal to 0.5 probability. And then it is been asked about, if Y married a normal homozygote male, then what is the probability that their child would be albino? Normal to albino. For normal to albino, so for that, what will be the probability? So as again, let me check, what is it? I know normal made a normal homozygote, normal homo male, and then albino. So if it is normal, if Y is the normal one, Y normal related with the normal male, then there is no such trait of albino female if it has been related with the normal male, then because that is not the dominant trait. So over here you can say for it would be 0 probability would be 0. If Y marries normal homozygote male, probability of albino male. So there also 0 it would be. Draw diagram showing fertilization in flowers, label pollen tubes, milk tubes. Again, fertilization in flower, that is also a very important diagram. So if flower formation or the structure of flower, all the labeling of the flower, pollen tube and stamen and all those things, so it is important. Okay, so that diagram is very much important. Label pollen tubes, male germ cells, female germ cells. Explain fertilization. So fertilization is nothing but two different kinds of cells or reproductive cells combined together to form a zygote. That is what fertilization means, and that zygote converts into an embryo. What happens to the ovary and ovule after fertilization? Nothing, it gets converted into the fruit. Ovaries and ovules, nothing happens to them. It just gets converted into the fruits or seeds. It gets converted into the seeds. Explain central and peripheral nervous system, protection of CNS or central nervous system, signals disrupted in spinal cord injury. Central nervous system, explanation of central nervous system. So what does central nervous system, what is it, what does it do? Central nervous system is nothing but it's the brain, connection of brain with the spinal cord. Okay, both of them are responsible for providing information to each and every organ for their actions to be done. Okay, so brain and spinal cord are present over there. With the help of it, central nervous system works and it provides instructions to provide voluntary and involuntary both kind of actions. Then for peripheral nervous system, it is again, as we discussed earlier, cranial nerves and spinal nerves, they are responsible for connections between the spinal cord and the organs. It is the connection between the spinal cord and the nervous system. Okay, next, the process in which transport of soluble products of photosynthesis takes place in plants is known as transportation. Transportation over there. Transpiration is for water, evaporation is for water being released from stomata. Conduction could not be the answer. So what is our answer? It is translocation. Translocation is the answer for photosynthesis, or the release of, or the product after photosynthesis to the plants, to the overall body. The statement that correctly describes the characteristics of a gene is each chromosome has only one gene located all along its length. This is not correct. Only one, in one chromosome only one information is not stored. It has entire information. Each chromosome has entire information. And individuals of a given species, a specific gene is located on a particular chromosome. That is the correct one. All the inherited traits in human beings are not controlled by genes. Inheritance is because of genes. As genes are present, the characteristics are ingrained in those genes and are being inherited by the future generations. So that is the wrong answer, wrong statement. A gene is not the information source for making proteins in the cell. With the help of genes only, the proteins is being constructed in a form where the characteristics are identical to the other cells. So that is why fourth option is also wrong. The only correct option was B1. Which one of the following is not a natural ecosystem? Croplands ecosystem, forest ecosystem, grassland ecosystem, or pond ecosystem? Natural one. It is not natural one. Grassland, forest, and pond, all three are natural resources. They are natural resources. We are not making those things. But crop field, we are the one for our own consumption. We make a field, we yield a field. So for that, whatever ecosystem has been generated in that place is been man-made. So this is our answer. A should be the answer. Match the following with correct responses. Junction between neurons. Junction between neurons. What is it known as? Synapses. Junction between the neurons is known as synapses. The largest cell in the human body, very obvious one. Neuron is the largest cell. Senses organs for smell. For smell, what kind of organ is being considered? Olfactory. And senses organ for touch. For touch, it is thermoreceptors. Simple. A food chain will be more advantageous in terms of energy. It has some. Again, the same question. 2 tropic levels. Consider the following statements about small intestine and select the one. The small intestine receives secretion from liver and pancreas. The small intestine, true. Small intestine receives secretions from liver and pancreas. Small intestine is the site of complete digestion of food. Villi of the small intestine absorb water from the unabsorbed food before it gets removed from the body via the anus. The length of the small intestine in animal differs as it depends on the type of food they eat. So among these 4 statements, which statement is the wrong statement? Obviously the third one, because it has been said small intestine absorb water from the unabsorbed food. Water from the unabsorbed food. Actually nutrients are being absorbed over there. Not only water, it is being absorbed by the nutrition. Nutrients are being absorbed over there. So C is the wrong answer. C would be the wrong answer. Other 3 statements are correct one. The part in which gustatory receptors are present in our body is gustatory receptors. So gustatory receptors, what do? They are for senses of flavors. So flavors can only be absorbed or understood using tongue. So C is the answer. Amoeba always produces 2 daughter cells or daughter amoeba, while Plasmodium divides into many daughter cells. So first statement, whether the statement is true or false. Obviously amoeba provides only 2 daughter cells, but Plasmodium can divide into more than 2. Amoeba undergoes binary fission while Plasmodium undergoes multi-fission. That is also correct. And as it is a binary fission, so amoeba provides 2 daughter cells. But as Plasmodium is the it undergoes multi-fusion, so it provides more than 2 daughter cells. So both assertion and reason are true. Assertion is true, reason is also true. Both assertion and reason are correct, and the reason is correct explanation of assertion. Next, an ecosystem consists of biotic components and abiotic components. It is also quite obvious. With biotic and abiotic combinations, you can have an ecosystem. Biotic and abiotic components play important roles for the sustenance of life and work independently in all ecosystem. So that is also correct. They work independently, and with the balancing of biotic and abiotic components, we can have a sustainable ecosystem. Okay, so both assertion and reason are correct. Both assertion and reason are true, and reason is correct explanation. Of A. Next, which of the following flowers will have higher possibility of self-pollination? Mustard, papaya, watermelon, or hibiscus? So among this, which undergoes self-pollination? Obviously mustard goes with self-pollination. See, list the 2 reproductive parts of a bisexual flower. For bisexual flower 2 reproductive parts, that would be stamen, and for the male part, and another would be considered as Um, Another would be considered as pistil, female reproductive part. Okay, so pistil and stamen you can have, bisexual one, pistil and stamen. Biogas is an excellent fuel. List 4 reasons to justify this statement. Write the main constituent of this gas and state its percentage. Biogas. So obviously biogas is an better alternate, because it does not release its carbon dioxide. It does not release its, it is a clean fuel. The release of harmful gas is not been done in the biogas. So it is a clean fuel. So no smoke, no harmful gases are being released. Also the heating capacity of the biofuel is higher. So and waste is not been produced much, so it is very good for waste disposal. Or whatever waste, bio waste is being generated, that can be utilized to produce biogas. So utilization of biodegradable waste could be done with the help of biogas. Write the main constituent of this gas and state its percentage. So main constituent of gas is methane. Methane is present in the biogas, and how much percentage it is? It is 75%. Differentiate between biodegradable and non-biodegradable waste. Write any 2 harmful effects caused by non-biodegradable waste if not disposed properly. Very simple. Biodegradable waste, the name itself says biodegradable. So the waste which will be disposed in the land, which can be converted into manure and fertilizer, this is considered as biodegradable waste. Non-biodegradable waste which cannot be degraded. It is impossible to degrade this, to break it down. So that kind of waste is known as non-biodegradable waste. Harmful effects, if it has been not disposed properly, what could it cause? It could cause pollution, land pollution. It can cause soil pollution. It can cause air pollution. It can also causes clogging of drain. So different kinds of, if it has been disposed in a place inside pipes, so it could clog it. So that is the problem. Also, if those waste comes with the contact with marine life, then those marine life are also being damaged because of non-biodegradable waste. What are the plant hormones? Name the plant hormones responsible for the following. So first, plant hormones, they are nothing but it is a kind of a fluid which has been released, or which has been responsible for the specific reasons, for specific secretion, for specific task. This kind of hormones are being released. Okay, so also known as phytohormones. You can also name it as a phytohormones. Now, which hormones are responsible for the growth of the stem? Which hormone is responsible for the growth of the stem? We already discussed that in the matching question. It is gibberellins. Okay, gibberellins are the responsible for the growth of the stem. Promotion of cell division. Who is responsible for that? Then it is cytokinase. Cytokinase is responsible for it. Inhibition of growth. Again, that has been discussed earlier. Hibiscus acid and elongation of cell. Auxin is responsible for the elongation of the cell. Name the 2 types of gametes produced by man. 2 types of gametes produced by man. Quite obvious answer. It is X chromosome and Y chromosome. These are the 2 gametes which have been produced by the man. For female, it is only 1 gamete, which is X chromosome, but for male, it is 2. Does a male child inherit X chromosome from his father? X chromosome can be either from father or from mother. If it is a male child, then there is X and Y chromosome. Y is only present in male. So Y is the one which has been contained by father. So which is left? X. X is already been contained by female. So the obvious answer would be no, that male child does not inherit X chromosome from father. How many types of gametes are produced by a human female? Only one type, X chromosome. No, these kind of activities, earlier it was to be asked, but now the CBSE has tried not to ask activity based questions, so not so problem. The mechanism by which sex of an individual, I guess it's the same type of question. Same question it is, as we discussed earlier. Define pollination. What is pollination? Again, same type of question. No, pollination. So pollination is a process through which reproduction in plants takes place. Pollination is a process in which reproduction in plants takes place. So that is it. Now different types of pollinations. One we discussed just now. That pollination is self-pollination, or it could be cross-pollination. So these are the two types of pollinations which could help in reproduction in plants. List 2 agents of pollination. There can be various agents, but nature can be the first agent. With the help of wind, flow of wind, the pollen grains go from one plant to another plant. Or it could be insects. Insects could be the reason. You can have different animals also that eat from one flower to another flower. They travels, they provide their they come in contact with one flower to another flower frequently. So animals could also be the reason, but mainly insects are much more responsible. If insects and wind you can have, water can also be there. Okay, then how does suitable pollination leads to fertilization? Suitable pollination leads to fertilization. So suitable pollinations means whether it is a self-pollination or it is a cross-pollination. If it is a self-pollination, then the same flower is being used. So in it, if same flower is being used, then you can have fruit of same kind. But if it is cross-pollination, then in that cross-pollination, if flower of two same types are being pollinated, then you can have proper proper kind of a germination. But if there are two different kinds of flowers germinated, then you can have variations. You can have variations in them, or you can have unsuccessful pollination. Name the hormone secreted by pituitary gland. Pituitary gland, what kind of hormones is been related by it? Growth hormone. Growth hormone has been related in the pituitary gland. Thyroxine. For thyroid is thyroxine. Next, stating one main function of each. Growth hormone it is. So what will it do? It will be responsible for the growth of our organs inside, and same way skeleton, growth of the skeleton also. So it is responsible for the growth of entire body. Thyroxine, what does thyroxine do? Thyroxine is responsible for the regulation of carbohydrates and protein and metabolism of the body. Okay, so that is the important part. And name the disorder and person. Name the disorder a person is likely to suffer from due to the deficiency of the above mentioned hormones. When there is deficiency in pituitary gland, pituitary hormone release of pituitary. So what kind of disease it could cause? It could cause gigantism. Okay, growth could be much more, or it could have shorter person. So pituitary gland, if it is not secreting properly. Thyroid, if it is been not releasing thyroxine properly, then goiter. Mainly it happens in near the neck, on the neck. So goiter can be caused because of thyroxine release or not appropriate amount of thyroxine release? How is the timing and amount of hormone release regulated? Explain with an example. Timings. When should the release of these hormones takes place, or how much hormone should be released? Who manages that? So for that, sugar level increment is been responsible for pancreas. From pancreas secretion of to regulate sugar level, pancreas releases insulin. Then when there is a less amount of sugar level, then more secretion of insulin has been done. Less secretion of insulin has been done. So mainly what happens, it depends the level of hormones already present in our body. So our body itself examines that whether it is requirement of such hormone or not. When there is a requirement of it, then the organ will release the hormone. When there is not requirement of it, then it will not release the hormone. Okay, I guess it was still here. Okay, so we tried to cover as many as questions we could. I hope it would be helpful for you. Although try to learn thoroughly NCERT. The most important part is NCERT. The more you learn from NCERT, the more you understand it, you will be able to have proper amount of questions from there. Okay, so try to have complete NCERT ingrained in your brain. Very best of luck for your examination. We'll meet again for the chemistry class. If you like this effort of ours, then I would be more than happy to see that you have subscribed to us and followed our channel. And also you can share to your friends and colleagues. Thank you and best of luck.